Today we have a short but very impactful episode with Jill Lublin, who is a PR expert, and she is sharing strategic PR things that you can do in 30 minutes or less to really make an impact and push your PR forward without spending thousands of dollars with a PR firm. What I loved about this episode is that Jill is so giving and is able to really share out of the box ways that I don't really think I've ever thought of to increase your PR and digging deep in who we are as a person holistically rather than just saying, I'm a business owner and this is what I do for people. So please listen to this full episode. Jill also has an event for World Kindness Day that she shares in the middle and at the end of the episode. So be sure to listen for that as well. Please join me in welcoming Jill to the podcast. Hi, Jill. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. If you could start by telling everyone who you are and what you do.
I'm delighted to be here with you and all of your viewers and listeners. And I am a publicity expert. I've written 4 books and I help you get out there without spending a fortune and creating and using publicity as a primary marketing tool. And I also wrote Guerrilla Publicity, so that comes in handy, as well as The Profit of Kindness is one of my other books. And to that end, I run conscious kindness circles where I have people interact and network. So it's super fun and we have a great time networking and kindness. And I speak all over the world on the topics usually of publicity and kindness.
Ah, so beautiful. So publicity, I think people get when they think of PR or they think of publicity, they think, oh no, that's not for me. I have a feeling you feel very differently. So for people who are listening, who are podcasters, they're business owners, and they're like, oh no, PR is maybe not for me. What would you say to that?
Well, I want to say, if you'd like to be known, if you'd like to be seen, if you'd like to get heard and be paid, I mean, publicity is one of those fabulous strategies that actually brings you clients, referrals, connections, and trust in the marketplace. That is what's so great about it. It brings people to you, and it's a gift that keeps on giving. And that is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, if someone is thinking, well, that's for, maybe I only want to impact a certain number of people. And they're thinking, well, Jill goes on these big stages and she does all these big things. I don't see myself doing that. I want to impact maybe more locally. How would you recommend that people maybe start getting their name out there, right? Because they might not be able to pitch to a stage you're on.
Well, so here's the thing. You start where you start. It's perfect, right? So listen, I have coaches who are just starting out. I have podcasters who are just starting out. That is a great time to promote your business, whether it's locally. And I believe a lot in local publicity. What do I mean by that? I mean getting in your daily paper, your business journal, your local ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, radio, and TV affiliates. Because here's the super great news. They need you, yes, you, to show up, connect, and create visibility in ways that serve them, right? Because here's the thing about what's super great about publicity is that you're serving an audience, right? You're having a contribution and an impact that I think just makes it so special. And on top of that, gets people connected to your message and gets you congruent in your message, but really has I call it the gift that keeps on giving, right? Publicity keeps on giving you leads, referrals, clients, connections, and builds that, what I like to call, I've heard of you somewhere syndrome, right? In the marketplace, because maybe it was another podcast, maybe it was a local media. So I love you to start local. And one of the things you can do that's really a simple tactic is, number one, open up nationaldaycalendar.com and look to see what holidays are appropriate for you. Like I have a veteran, she's a coach, she's a podcaster, and yet we've got her going out for Veterans Day. So one of the things I'd like you to really be with is think about how can you use, here's number 2, everything you've got. So for instance, I have a podcaster and she's a business coach. He helps on business communication. And you know what? We were getting great publicity for how to communicate better in business with some great tips from her on how to do that. Then when Black History Month comes, that's in February, using everything she's got. She is a Black woman. We talk about how to be a powerful Black woman and communicate well in today's times. That's the story that got her into Black Enterprise, one of the biggest business publications, got her into Essence magazine, got her into places and spaces that, well, as a business communication coach, might not have. So, and being a woman will go for International Women's Day. You see how this is going? So I call it use everything you've got.
Oh, that's so interesting. And I don't think that, like, we've had PR people on before to talk about like different ways to use PR, but I don't think that we've talked about it in that kind of way of really looking at yourself holistically rather than I do this thing for this person. And I think that so often, I think especially as women, we tend to see ourselves very one faceted, especially as moms, like, oh, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I'm a business owner. And like, that's it. But we are so much more, and our experiences are so much more that make us so multifaceted. And I think even just sitting with that, you might realize some things about yourself to say, whoa, I could go out for that, or I could be featured in that way because I am this, and own it, right? Instead of just being like, no, somebody else can have that slot. No, own it and like really empower and embody that. I think that's so incredible. You talk about the message. What is it, and how can we use that to really get good PR spots?
So the message really starts with what is it that you're putting out there that helps others? Okay. So you always want to be of value and benefit, and a message solves problems in the marketplace. So my question to you is, what's the problem out there? I didn't ask you what you do. I'm asking you all, what's the problem out there? Let's start with that, because that's the very piece that's going to support you to get and gain more publicity without spending a fortune.
You say without spending a fortune. Do people tend to put a lot of investment and money, or think that they have to put a lot of investment and money into PR in order to be seen?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, listen, these days, a good publicity agency and firm will cost you $4,000 to $5,000 a month, really. And realistically, you have to invest in a number of months to get real results. Figure a $30,000 investment. So what I did was I created a media mastery intensive. I created ways that people can get their name out there without spending a fortune. And frankly, it hurt my heart that so many entrepreneurs couldn't afford to go out there and frankly might not need it. So I came up with simple, easy ways that you can start getting publicity now. And these are some of the things we've been talking about. And I've been giving you these tips and for success today, because I think it's really important that you take a baby step and start wherever you can start. The point is to get started, to have people start knowing your name and create that visibility factor that gets you seen, gets you heard, and creates that trust and elevated expertise in the marketplace.
So when you see, people coming to you and saying, "Oh, I've tried this and I've tried that and I've tried this," what are those things that you're finding that people are doing wrong when they're doing it themselves and trying to do their own PR?
Yeah. And by the way, most of my people are doing their own PR with assistance and support from
Right.
here's how to do it the right way. Because there's two things that happen. Number one, you kind of do it like what's called a Volkswagen. You know how Volkswagens go, right? Stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. And if you're doing stop, start PR, that's all the results you're going to get. Mostly stop, not start. Because the truth is you've got to keep your visibility going. You've got to keep connected to what your message is and make a difference for others. So not continuing on the journey is important. I also really recommend you do, I'll call it 30 minutes a week. Really, most of my clients are successful with 30 minutes a week of visibility building activities. What does that mean? Focus in on key things you can do to keep your visibility up. And by the way, if you don't have 30 minutes, put it in 2 15-minute segments. I know you've got that. Walking back and forth to the refrigerator will take that long. So let's put some 15-minute and 30-minute segments into your week to actually keep your visibility up. And I'm promising you that what's going to happen is people will start really understanding who you are and know your name.
So when you say that, I think people maybe will get the idea of, oh, I'll just post on social media on this one platform and I did my 15 minutes. What are some things that we maybe should be doing during those 30 minutes a week to really be strategic? I know social media tends to be something that it's only alive for a few seconds. We've got quick, time to try to capture someone's attention. And so what are some other things that maybe we could do?
Well, social media is not publicity. Okay. So I just want to say that it's a one-hit wonder. You're lucky if people read your posts, and they're certainly not going to see everything. The power of publicity is that it lasts long. It's got that, what would I call it? Time retention, right? And so a couple things you can do quickly. Reach out on Google and register yourself under Google Alerts. Put your name in it, plus like one phrase. For instance, I wrote a book called The Profit of Kindness. I put the word kindness in there. Did you know I found out that November 13th is World Kindness Day? Wow. Now I can do a whole PR campaign around it, which I'm doing. And I have kindness circles, which I invite people to free. So please come check those out. JillLublin.com/kindness circles. But, let me just say, we want to create that kind of ongoing focus. What is it that other people care about? And so Google Alerts allows you to put that one phrase, like I put the word publicity in based on my book, Guerilla Publicity. Guess what I found out? Small Business Saturday. So, we'll focus in on that for publicity. What it will do is alert you to the things that are happening. So that's really powerful. Keep your eye on nationaldaycalendar.com and then put into your calendar. Like, for instance, I mentioned the veteran at the beginning of the interview. So I'd like people to plant their seeds for publicity 3, 6, and 9 months ahead, because publicity operates ahead of the game, right? You and I had this podcast on the books for a while. So I think it's really important that you get ahead of the game and keep that constant visibility up so that others keep, talking about you. That's the key.
Yes, I think that's so powerful. And even podcast guesting, I think, is such a strategic way to get visibility and continuously, especially since podcasts are evergreen, tend to be evergreen, where you're able to say, hey, I'd love to be on your show. You get that on the books a few months out. That episode might go live a month or two after you interview. And then you've got that, 4 months out of, hey, I'm going to be seen and heard in this way, and being able to build on that. And then even, I love the Google Alerts thing. I personally have my name as a Google alert. So that way, anytime I show up on someone's podcast and maybe they don't tell me, hey, your episode is live, I automatically get notified, hey, there's a YouTube video with your name on it. And that helps me see, oh, this episode went live. Cool. I can make sure that I share it, that I'm promoting it with my audience. And then I can, again, keep that connection open with that host, because maybe they know someone who could use my expertise, or someone who is looking for a podcast guest. And I can say, hey, thank you so much for having me on your show. I had such a great time. I saw it's live. I can't wait to share it with my audience. I'm looking to be on more podcasts in the next coming months. Do you know anyone who's interested in having me as a guest? Here are some topics I can talk to. Would love a connection. And is there anything I can do for you as well? Right. So having that reciprocal kindness, right? Of like, hey, you did this thing for me. I'd be happy to do something else for you. Also, here's another ask, right? I mean, you won't know unless you ask someone. So I think that it's such a powerful tool being a guest on other people's podcasts. So you're mentioning some things that you're seeing people do wrong, and that, throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping it sticks. Let's not do that. Let's be strategic. You gave us some really impactful ways that we can get some PR out there. Now, guerrilla PR, I'm curious what that entails, right? I think guerrilla marketing, very like in your face, different. What are some things that you recommend in that book specifically?
Thank you. Well, so Guerrilla Publicity is the book I wrote. And what that's really about is simple, easy things you can do without spending a fortune. And what you're looking at there is using time and imagination. And part of that is the creative visibility building activities I gave you there. That's the kind of things that are going to work simply and effectively to get you out there with publicity. So super excited for that. And that's what guerrilla publicity is. We're all about easy, effective, and, systemizing. I'm big on systemizing your publicity. So, every 30 days I have systems, every 60 days and every 90 days. And one of those every 30 days is to look at your message, make sure it's congruent, special, and specific to you, and that it really is what you want out in the world.
I love that too, of like reassessing, because I think a lot of times, especially as business owners, we kind of tie ourselves into, I have to be doing this for the rest of eternity, or I can only be doing this. And so reassessing and saying, do I still want to be known for this thing? Do I still want to be presented in this way? Or are there shifts that I need to make in my messaging, in, how I'm reaching out to people, the things that I want to talk about? Are there those shifts? And I think that that's such an important part of growing, right, as a person, and growing as, someone whose ideas can change over time. I know I talk about this sometimes on the show. When I first started my podcast and started in the podcast space, I thought, if you're going to start a podcast, you have to keep podcasting and be intentional and like really like show up for 100 episodes. That's what you want to be able to do. Whereas now I am a lot looser with that idea. And I can tell people, like, you want to do a limited series of 25 episodes, be strategic about it, but go ahead. Like, you don't have to tie yourself into that. And so when I look back at past episodes and I see myself saying that, I'm like, oh man. But I'll say, like, look, I was wrong. My ideas have changed, and that's okay. And I can show up different, and like reassessing that, I think, is so powerful. Jill, this has been so incredible. Thank you so much for such strategic, implementable things that we can do to increase our PR. Where can people find you, get to know you, stalk you, all of that fun stuff?
Please don't stalk me. Just come on to my programs. And one way you can do it is I've created a great free gift for you, which is publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. Now, what that enables you to do is to have a free masterclass with me on Zoom, live on Zoom and in person. I will come and answer your questions and give you some more great content from what we did today, plus a wonderful action guide. So go check that out. publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. That'll get you to the right places. And come on to the kindness circle, jilllublin.com/kindness circles. It's completely free. And I'm interviewing Jack Canfield for World Kindness Day, just saying. So come on whenever you can. It'll be great to see you all.
Ah, perfect. Again, Jill, thank you so much. This has been so incredible.
Thank you.